left off like, look, we left off like a month ago or something, referencing that coming back to the here and the now has a range of benefits, right? The most overt is coming back again to the realization, as in this here and this now, that we are not in Ethiopia where 80% of the population is starving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? So, but that's the most basic reference of using the here and the now as a refuge. You understand? Right? Mm-hmm. Huh? So, for instance, when we talk about being in the here and the now, how would you reference that? What would you say the here and the now is?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like it's I'm only going to speak to you. I'm not going to speak to anybody else. So, like, for me personally,
yeah.
For me personally, being here and the now is kind of like it kind of is like slowing down time and kind of like allowing you to, like, I don't know, like we always complain that life is so fast and life, it passes us by or whatever, and it gets faster and faster as you get older. But I think that
that is not true, by the way.
I don't think it's true either.
This redundancy. It's this redundancy. It is. Yeah. But anyway, keep going.
Well, like our perception of time also changes. Like all of us know when we're waiting for the clock to strike at 1 o'clock, it takes forever. But then when we're rushing to get something done, time goes by really fast. And our perception can really affect how we, our time. My light is flickering, but so like
being in the third grade and every day thinking the clock was broken. The last 5 minutes until 3 o'clock. The clock's broken.
Yeah, everybody in school knows that. And so I think slowing down time is a real thing that we can do, and being in the here and the now allows us to slow down time so that we're not rushing through it and missing things. We can take in what is around us and then kind of I guess use all of our senses and kind of be in the moment at the best you can be in that moment, right? That's at the baseline, and then there's so many.
Is a weird phrase, as you know.
I'm trying to. I don't know how to articulate it, but like
as attentive as you can be. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. In that moment, as attentive as you can be, but to a good extent, to leading to a good thing. For the it benefits you.
And what's the benefit? What's the benefit?
Yeah.
No. That's not rhetorical. What's the benefit?
Oh, what is the benefit?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying is it leads to some benefit. I haven't articulated what it is, but I guess if I go back to what I was just saying, slowing down time and being able to, it's not going in a circle, but like just taking your surroundings, not rush through things, and kind of like, I don't want to be like trying to be.
Okay, but again, no, I understand. So what's the benefit of that is my point, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, again, if you were being tortured, time would get really slow.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like really slow, yeah? But that's not slow.
A complaint is that things are too fast, right? The time goes too fast and everything. So counter to that, that could be one of the benefits.
For instance, I was doing the meditation with this 15-year-old kid recently, and so he gets in the here and the now, and he goes, well, nothing spectacular is happening. It's like, dude, number one, meditation is like any art form or theoretical science. It takes time to get it. Like it takes time. Yeah. So initially, and I say to this young man that meditation is like it's like a Swiss Army knife, right? It's got all these different functions. Yeah. Certainly, that if you are emotionally overwrought, your powers of cognitive critical thought gets compromised, right?
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Okay, so it would clearly help with that, yeah?
Yeah, to make better decisions, to slow, I don't want to go back to what I was saying, but just to get back to a place where you can make better decisions.
Okay, so that would be one of the benefits of coming back to the here and the now, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Another benefit would be acknowledging that maybe as a novel acknowledgement that nothing bad is happening. I mean, what's wrong? What's wrong? See?
Well, just for instance, like the kid was saying, nothing's happening right now.
No,
But
no.
nothing.
Spectacular is happening now. See? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah? And the answer is
Well, so just because nothing spectacular is happening at the moment, we think that the moment is mundane or dull, but nothing bad is even happening. So our judgment is kind of skewed of what magnificent is, or what is the word that he used?
spectacular.
Spectacular, yeah. So it's skewed because
Now, by the way, a couple of mornings ago, I was doing my meditation, and it was like, this is so spectacular, I just can't even stand it. It's just wonderful. So, this is like any other skill. It's like learning to play the guitar, the piano. You know, you begin with chopsticks with the piano, and it's only after, several years of investment, right, that you can play Bach, right? And
yeah.
the difference between Bach and chopsticks is one is transcendental and the other is a rigor to learn how to use your fingers with the instrument. Right?
Yeah.
So this kid's been meditating for about 2 months.
Yeah.
Right? And again, he already thinks that he has exhausted it.
And that's what I've heard from so many people too, who have tried it and exhausted it. Is it doesn't work for me? Well,
Right.
they didn't give it more. Like with anything, they say you have to put like thousands of
anything of value.
Well, I was just thinking of just not even like what we do in terms of martial arts, but I was thinking of like things I've heard of in the sports and in other areas where they say you have to put in 1,000 hours to be good at something, or they say a certain amount of hours.
I would say 10,000 hours.
10,000. Yeah. And so we know that in order to attain a level of accomplishment with something, we have to give it time. And something as complex as
we have to give it effort. And we have to give it effort. We have to give it effort. Yeah.
Both. Yeah, definitely. And so if you're only doing half of either of those things, half effort or half time, for meditation, you're never going to experience the full potential of it. Just like with anything that we try to do, if we half effort, half time, we're never going to experience the full potential. And so it seems very obvious, but it's just I understand where that kid's coming from because I hear it so much where people are just like, it doesn't work for me. And I think for me, the best time I do meditations is I'll wake up, I'll get ready to take a shower, and right before I take a shower, I'll sit down and I give myself like 5 minutes just to sit there and just kind of like I meditate. I stay silent and I do basically the ones that you and me do, whereas I go over the realm of things. First, I try to slow down my breath, and then I go over the realm of things that are causing me troubles. Anything so bad I can't, put it aside for right now. And then I go back over it. Nothing so bad I can't put aside right now. And I check it all off, and then I just go back into watching my breath and kind of, letting it be for a little bit, and then kind of bringing myself, just trying to bring my thoughts back into, not let them wander too much. And in doing that, being concentrating on my thoughts and stuff, I give myself like maybe 5 minutes to do that. And I feel like that, it slows down time is one way I can say it, is it really slows down time.
Right. Really.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what other, I think it definitely has better benefits. Like you say, it allows you to compose yourself, allows you to kind of take the overwhelming randomness of the day and put it into a simple like I'm not consciously thinking about it, but once I go back to it, it's not like so much stuff that I have to do. It's like, okay, there's maybe 5 or 6 things, I could do these right now, do these later. It's a lot easier to overcome the accomplishments when at least I allow myself to get some level of like repose and recomposure, I guess. And
right.
when I wake up and I'm just going full force, it's a lot harder to do that.
Right.
My day is more chaotic.
Right. So this is about as far as we've taken the here and the now, right? Yeah, which is not bad. It's a really good. Then it's a tool, right? Instead of an excursion, you dig, right? So again, when we say here and now, what does that mean to you? When you say here, what does that mean?
Yeah, I guess from our talks throughout, many times, it makes me think of the entire universe, and then like one little pinpoint in the vast cosmos, but none of it like being outside or
And how
different
does
from
that
each other.
strike you? When you allow that acknowledgement, how does that strike you? That
Yeah,
you are in the midst of eternity, and that's here. That is actually here. Yeah,
yeah,
right. Here is not Santa Fe. Yeah,
yeah,
right. So
it's
how does that strike you? Not as an idea, but as a fact. This is a reality.
yeah,
See, it's true.
yeah,
We
yeah.
can agree that this is true, right?
I think I think it's awe-inspiring, and it's like it's an easy way to get that feeling is to look up at the stars at night, just to get
Okay.
to understand where you are. And
How often do people do that as a group?
yeah, very rarely, very
Oh,
rarely.
okay. That's why
But
we're talking about this. So
and
again,
here,
when we come back into and again, when we talk about the now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah, the
yeah,
now.
the now, yeah, because
Does that mean 11:45?
yeah, I think it means not contemplating things that are in front of you or behind you, or
No,
focusing on.
apply the same reference that you just did with here.
What do you mean?
Well, again, you said here. Well, again, when I reference here, our reference is the Milky Way galaxy because that is apprehendable. Everybody
Yeah,
knows what the Milky Way galaxy is, even though we do not know how it got there, right? And we do not know how it formed in such an astonishingly specific way. But again, so that is our reference for eternity, you see, because it's apprehendable. We could also say that here is uh, um, uh, the epicenter of prior to the Big Bang, which happened 13.5 billion years ago, and however long it's going to take this expression of physical being to expand until there's no more contact between any singular body, star or galaxy, whatever it may be, right?
mhm,
So, in terms of here, that is actually what we're referencing, not Santa Fe, not the continent, not the planet, not the solar system. Now, this is real. This is
yeah.
real.
But so
See?
in terms of now, what are
Right.
we referencing?
Right.
Yeah,
Indeed. Indeed. So we talk about now. We're not talking about 11:45. We're talking about now being again waking up to the fact that you are in the middle of the infinity of space. That's
yeah,
referencing here, right? Infinity of space and the eternity of time, which is now. You understand? Right? Now,
yeah. It's the same visual. It's the exact same visual cue for here as it is for now. It's like the
right.
same
Right.
thing,
Exactly.
basically. You know?
Exactly. Now, what you just said was it's awe-inspiring, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Now, suppose you were to every time you come into the here and the now, right, and you get done with the tool to really get in the here and now, and then you allow yourself again that acknowledgement, not as, again as the goal, but more reference of the fact. When we talk about be here now, mostly people go 11:45 in Santa Fe. You understand, right?
mhm,
Which
yeah,
is not wrong,
yeah, yeah,
but there's nothing awe-inspiring about that because we're habituated to it,
yeah.
right?
But
Now, in
you,
fact, it actually is awe-inspiring
yeah,
if you take away the habituation. Yeah,
yeah, or change the language used to describe it.
I mean, 11:45 is referencing. In fact, what is it referencing?
I mean, it's referencing a point throughout the entire history of time and
No,
space.
it's referencing the planet turning 360 degrees. The planet.
Yeah,
That is how you get 11:45 and 12 o'clock and all the rest of it.
yeah,
That is based on how long it takes for the planet to do a full rotation,
yeah.
right? 24 hours. Yeah. But again, there's nothing awesome in that.
I mean, for farmers, there is.
Okay,
I mean,
but
I'm joking. I'm joking, but I think right. If it for me, I think there is because of just how I mean, just impossible and unimaginable it all is. How it all works and everything like that, and and all there's just the math behind the distance of the sun and the earth and the moon and how they all work in tandem together to create this.
Also, for instance, you and I have referenced this, because we call the star that gives us life the sun, it diminishes the fact that we are being warmed by a star. That is happening. We are moving around the star. And again, it's like, and come on, Chris, everybody knows that. Yes, everybody knows that, but it does not bring any sense of awe to hardly anybody, except like Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson and people like that. Right?
But if you recontextualize it just in the fact that, like, if it was any closer or farther, we wouldn't be here. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And the Goldilocks, how there's this perfect little pocket that we are in, this Goldilocks zone that makes everything manageable. And how can that possibly be,
Now, in part, we're using this to counter, basically life's a bitch and then you die. Yes?
Yeah.
Which is true. You get born, you live a life, and you die, right? That is true. That's true.
Fact. Yeah.
But if that is your only focus, right, again, that is a terrible waste of speculation. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say, right?
Because on one hand, yes, we live, we die, and we can focus on that. But then we can also focus on what we were just talking about, that we are part of this cosmos, this universe, this galaxy, this I don't know what it is.
I can't buy it anymore. I no longer can say that we are part of. We are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. Now
we are this. Yeah.
We are individuated. That is true. But I would not say that my fingers are not part of my body.
Well, as we know scientifically, all the atoms, we're all just atoms, and it's all atoms, and
no, our body is atoms. What we are is an unbelievable mystery. Yeah, our bodies are atoms. Yes.
So is molecules below atoms, or is atoms below molecules?
Molecules are atoms put together, like H2O. Right, water is two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. So molecules are bigger.
Without getting too hypothetical, is there anything smaller than an atom that we know of, or do we usually stop there?
No. What's inside the atom is, again, electrons, protons, and neutrons, right? Which again, apparently, this really is mostly the astrophysicist, but the distance between an electron and the nucleus of an atom, right? It's so small that the distance is about the same as the distance between a star at our expression of being, which is. So
mostly.
No, go ahead.
Horton Hears a Who. He's in the little snowflake. Have you ever? It's Dr. Seuss. He's in the snowflake, and there's a world in the snowflake, and he has to save.
Well, I don't know the story, but yes, that is absolutely true. So once again, with all these references, the idea is that we have these set ideas that we confuse with the truth. Yes, right. And the terrible thing about our reference as a group of here and now is it's basically centrally located. Here and now is Walmart. I'm in Walmart now, right? Well, the fact is, while you may be in Walmart, you are still coursing around this star that we call the sun. That is also part of your here and now, whenever you bother to look at it. Now, the thing is just to go into that reference of fact, right? To come back into the here. Remember, our theme now is not just, coming back into the here and now is good because it allows you to slow down. It allows you not to be driven endlessly by insubstantial drifting mind, right? The roller coaster of random thought that we do all day long, mostly in complaint. You see, so the initial. Go ahead.
The next step, after those two things,
the deepening into the implication of the here and now is now what we're talking about, right? So again. When you come back to just your relationship with the Milky Way galaxy, never mind the other immensities, right, that again are so huge.
Yeah.
We cannot even conceive of
Yeah.
the distance in our solar system.
Yeah, our brains short circuit. They shut down because, you know.
It's huge. It's really too huge. I mean, I wonder if we were going 60 miles an hour, how long it would take us to get to the moon.
Yeah, right. It'd probably take a long time.
Like, I don't know, 20 years or something.
There's a bunch of great, you know, and it's in a couple different classes in community college, and then in the movie Signal with Jodie Foster. I can't
Oh,
remember.
contact.
Contact. Yeah, Contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the beginning of that one, he starts zooming out and just
Right.
zooming out and zooming out and zooming out. And there's a couple other ones that do it in actual scales, you know, like Earth and then bigger and bigger and bigger. And even seeing that, your brain starts to short circuit a little bit because it's just the same thing getting bigger, and you don't have no way to really
But it
conceptualize
does
how.
give you a sense. You see, it does give you a sense. Now, this is
Yeah,
true now. The issue is this is not about answers. This is about question. See?
Yeah.
Right? Now, everything that we are taught is about answers. Now, again, if you're fixing a car, you want answers. If you're raising a child, you want answers, right? If you're filling in your taxes, you want answers, right? But if you are contemplating your place in always and everywhere, right, answers are too puny to allow you any sense of sustenance. You understand? Nourishment.
And do you think that that is because we can't even conceptualize what is actually the truths might be in that instance, how we got here, what created us,
Yes, yes,
what's
yes, yes,
outside the
yes.
universe. It's so
Absolutely right.
big that any kind of answer isn't sufficient to what might actually be real or reality.
Well, I mean, answer your own question,
Yes, right? Yeah. So
right?
that's what I would say. Yeah.
Right, right. So again, understand that one of the hidden ahas in all of this is that if you acknowledge as a question, right, what is my place in the Milky Way galaxy? I mean, you are made. Your body is made of the Milky Way galaxy. It is,
Yeah, yeah. That's what. Yeah, we were kind of just getting to that a second ago. Would
right?
you agree that maybe it's not the same organization, but we're everything from this computer to the wall to me are all made of the same
Hi,
um,
Stardust.
protons and electrons and
Hi,
yeah,
hi,
yeah, yeah.
hi, hi.
So we are
Stardust.
all we're all part of this universe. We're all the same. We're all part of
Well,
it, even though we don't seem.
understand on a molecular level, we're not even going to an atomic level, right? And I'm looking at my sofa. I wonder on a molecular level how far H2O molecules interweave with whatever the molecule structure is of basically cow skin,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. To
Molecular level, it's not clearly delineated. Everything kind of merges. So this is what I mean by not part of.
mhm.
Not part
You
of.
are, you are, you
Like
are.
all of it. All
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Right? Yes? Yeah?
Factual, based on science, based on what
Based
everyone
on
knows.
science.
Yeah,
Indeed. Based on the facts.
yeah,
You know, I mean, I wonder as I'm sitting here how much the molecules of my butt, right, are actually going into the molecules of the chair.
yeah. I've watched that show, How It's Made, and I've always thought in my mind that like a great thought process was to be able to see like a microscopic scale of two things interacting. You know, I've always wondered what that would look like on a microscopic scale of two of a wall and a hand or whatever interacting
Right,
with each
right,
other.
right.
And the
That's
same thing that
exactly
you're
what
describing.
I'm talking about now. It's
Yeah,
exactly that. But let's put air into that too. I mean,
yeah,
at what point is the molecules of air, right? You know, O2,
yeah,
right? Right, sinking into the molecules of my skin. And the
yeah.
answer is on that level, there's no distinction. There is this living room is an ocean of molecules. That's
Yeah.
all. And the differentiation, right, is on that level is non-existent. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, I'm just picturing the Matrix. Everything is those green lines. You know, it's
But
all.
the only problem with the matrix and referencing that image is it's two-dimensional, number one,
Yeah,
where this is three-dimensional. You understand? Right? And it is important because again, because the body is separate from the chair, right? At this level of being for you and I, right? Right?
yeah,
So again, once again, it's paradoxical. Yeah? But it doesn't take much speculation. I'm not talking about answers now. I'm just talking about, let's speculate a little bit. Let's like
question.
question a little bit, what actually is going on. When you use a tissue and blow your nose, how much of the tissue on a molecular level is interweaving with the molecules of your nose, for God's sake? Yes?
And I'm sure in that instance, more so than others, because you get little pieces like stuck on your nose, and so like,
Hi.
they are kind of, like they are kind of almost like sticking together and attaching.
So
It's like,
on that level, when we talk about the paradox, right, of differentiation, right, Chris versus Alex, right? But again, and we're not saying that any of this is the end of the line. This is just the beginning of speculation. You
yeah,
understand, right? So here we are in the now. And we contemplate that the now, right? Let's just take it to the Milky Way galaxy, okay? Right? The here and the now is you and I in the Milky Way galaxy,
yeah,
right? Well, and this is true. There's nothing that this does not require a belief system,
yeah. It's
right?
just a different way of describing exactly what we are doing right now.
It actually is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Now, if you look at it from that level, right? Again, the here and the now is a pretty, at least very huge place. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. It's yeah. I mean, well, because it gives you a third person perspective. I would say it almost puts you out above it and looking at it all.
What it's called, by the way, as a writer, you need to know this. That's called the God's view,
High. Okay. Yeah.
which is worthy of note.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. As opposed to the singular person telling a story. This is overview, right?
Yeah.
That's called the
Exactly.
God's view writing.
Yeah. And that's kind of how it feels when you think about it in those terms. It kind of puts you in a third person. Just so that you can conceptualize it all.
Okay, so uh, and again, for you to be in that situation, yes, which you are,
Yeah.
yes, right, would you say that that is a mundane thing?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, I think it's spectacular that we have the ability to do that, because it
But
could
what about
be.
the spectacular of actually being in it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like if we were blinded, or like maybe, like, I don't know if animals do that. Do you think animals can?
No, I don't think animals can do it. That
So
is the distinction. That
yeah.
is the distinction.
So
Yes.
in that situation, it might be mundane, but to be able to contextualize it and put it in these words and have that third person perspective, it's it's um
Yeah,
it's
I'm ejecting
spectacular.
to the third person perspective because I don't understand how it's third person. It's
It's just
still
in
you.
my mind's eye. I'm not sitting here in Santa Fe at 11 whatever at 12 o'clock. I'm looking at the universe and being a
Yeah,
part
you're
of
looking at the
everything.
universe from Santa Fe in your home.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about my imagination, just in my mind's eye. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like my mind's eye is always, my imagination's always kind of going, so I'm picturing
Hi, this is the
everything as I talk
blessing.
about it.
This can potentially be the blessing, right, of imagination. You understand? Right now, this is not hyperbola. This is not, endless, just, this is actually factual. These are factual references. Now, and again, this is only the beginning. So we come back to the now and we shed the velocity momentarily of mostly um, 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 residue of unfulfillment in the past and certain degrees of anxiety about the future, right?
Because in reality, when you're looking at it on a grand scale of the universe, life and death, and our limited engagement here on this planet, those things are not as important to me, you know.
Indeed. Well, this
And
is the
yeah,
fact. Yeah, this is, you see, so some time ago, you were talking about some friend of yours saying that, it's just for him and his family and that's it and all the rest of it, right?
yeah, yeah.
Well, what that does finally is it shrinks life down so much that the only existential view that this guy can have must be one of fairly profound loneliness.
Yeah, it's very, very logical and rigid, but now, like his arguments towards me, his arguments about it, because I talked to him for a minute,
I mean,
and
everything that you and I are talking about right now is logical, dude.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
it definitely doesn't, like you were saying, it doesn't lead to any nuance or open-mindedness or anything
No,
good in my
no.
mind, you know.
Anything, it's more and more and more of a shutting down, right? Of an insulation that's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only outcome that can come from it, saying that I have to save, I have to get it for me and my family at the cost of everybody else, and that's the right thing to do. And being able to make that logical in your own mind. You know, I
see,
didn't agree
I
with
don't
it.
think it is necessarily logical,
Yeah, no,
right?
I didn't agree with him, and I argued with him, and I argued why it was illogical. But he never let up, and in his mind, he was using logic to articulate why he believed that, and it
I
was
understand
sufficient
that's
enough
not
for him.
logic, it's an
To,
idea.
was
See,
it?
it's an idea,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, but we were going back and forth. I'm just saying. So in his mind, he was right because of his logical argument.
Well, because, yeah, but again, logic is a huge thing. Us talking about having relationship with the Milky Way galaxy is logical,
Yeah.
yes, right? But that allows one to open up endlessly, whereas this logic, right, which is another idea, right, which is really a terrible idea, right? Really terrible idea. I mean, my God, the loneliness that must be at the foundation of that is astonishing to me.
But
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. If he couldn't find any logic in it, how would he be able to argue the validity of that
But
belief?
I don't want to get into semantics now.
That,
This is so,
that's just what I was trying to say, though. That's all I was saying. Is in
uh,
his mind, he believed what he was saying.
okay, but again, what he believes is an idea. It is not necessarily logical. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not a logical idea. If he was living in, with the Plains Indians and he had that idea, it would be illogical because those communities were, again, socialistic
yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, no, I
communities.
totally understand what you're saying, but I don't agree with this. I'm not saying that I agreed. I disagreed with him everything he was saying, but his
All I'm
arguments were enough for him to
saying
say,
is that, again, to say that his idea is logical means
yeah,
that other things are illogical. And the fact is that this is similarly an idea,
yeah,
right?
definitely,
That
yeah,
the
yeah,
impact of the expression is not logic, it is an idea. And it's an idea that comes from other people. And the fact, all I'm saying is the outcome, it's all ideas.
yeah,
It's all ideas, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Now, some ideas can feed you, some ideas can cause you starvation. The reason why this is so important in our time, right, with COVID and isolation and all the rest of that stuff, is that people are really starting to go crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I
Yeah.
think logic is not logic is the wrong word to use. What is the what did we talk about a long time ago where it was like a sophistry is there's a quote sophistry leads to
Sophistry is ideas that have no real merit, right? But people, it's like the word interesting,
yeah,
and as I've said to you for as long as we've known each other, if the best you can do with the gift of a lifespan is be interested, fucking kill yourself.
yeah,
How about being awe-inspired? How about being heartbroken?
yeah,
Yes. And how about being both of those things at the same time?
yeah.
Yes, as lifestyle.
So
Yes.
so that person's outlook led him to that,
Right.
not opposed
Yeah.
to
So outlook, I
awe-inspiring.
would say outlook is a better word
Yeah,
because it's an outlook. It
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Yeah. Now, again, does he need to take care of his family? Absolutely. Yes, he does. Right. If he had 10 friends with other families and it was acknowledged, now I'm basing this on my time at the ashram. right? Which was a socialistic setting. And it was one of the safest places that I've experienced in my 71 years. It was wonderful. Now, again, it was ideas. We came up with an agreed upon way to be with each other. That's the way we did reality. You understand? It's based on ideas, to a degree, facts, right? If you're hungry, you got to eat. That would be called a fact, right? If you don't have enough food to eat, you will starve. That is a fact, right? The idea of how you deal with that possibility then goes into ideas, or what was outlooks. Outlooks is the word you use, right?
Yeah.
Right. The trouble is that we say they're not outlooks, it is fact, you see? And that's what this guy is saying.
I mean, I got kind of heated in the argument too, because I got to the point where I was like, that makes you a bad person. I said that to him. I was like, that makes you a bad person. If you're willing to screw other people over just because it's about you and your family, I think that makes you a bad person. And that's when the argument kind of started to break down. But
how is that? Yeah,
sorry,
how's that different from patriotism? How's that different from patriotism?
I guess I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's not, right? It's about me and my family.
My country, right or wrong. I mean, it's basically, we're already living the Hunger Games. You know that.
Yeah, seriously.
Now, is that right?
Yeah, I don't think so. But just because our society might say it's right doesn't mean that we have to agree with it, you know?
Indeed, right? So this is society's outlook. Yeah. I mean, Krishnamurti has been said for, since like 1919 or some damn thing, that patriotism is exploded tribalism. And then you've got us and them. Automatically, you've got us and them.
Exactly.
Right?
It sows division and creates, an atmosphere where it's impossible to come to agreements about very nuanced ideas.
Right. And there will be continuous us and them, which again has the potential then for terrible, terrible cruelty and horrible, horrible outcome. Like I was watching PBS the other day, and they did an article on what's going on in Ethiopia, which is a failed state. It's been a failed state for like 60 years or some shit, right? And 80% of the people there are starving. 80%. I mean, this is inconceivable. Yes? Yeah? So again, when we talk about, we say I'm hungry, right? Yeah? I mean, it's such a relative statement.
Yeah. Have we ever truly been as hungry as any of those people, Ever.
No.
Yeah.
And, as dear old Ramdas said, you don't talk about fasting to a starving person, right? But again, even, in fasting, that's not the same thing as starving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a choice. You're doing it to yourself.
So once again, we can use the fact of what's going on. And again, we both know that this is not Ethiopia. This is places on Airport Road in Santa Fe.
Yeah, around in our own town,
Indeed. This is somebody I work with telling me that, when it was like 3 degrees a couple of mornings ago, she was out driving around. She saw this guy walking down the road with no shoes and no pants.
Yeah. Or David giving away all of his blankets. Yeah.
David didn't give away his blankets. David went out and bought blankets to give to people.
Yeah.
Right? Awesome. Now, again, in the scheme of things, let's just take the person saying it's got to be about me and mine, and that's it. Yeah. That's like a fortress, you understand? As opposed to David, who is not affluent by any stretch of the imagination, man. Right? Right?
Yes. We're going to continue. Finish what you're going to say.
Well, so again, David is taking it upon himself, right? And that's why I want to get in on it. I told him, listen, I'm down. I'll buy some blankets with you, right? Yes.
We'll start a blanket fund.
Huh?
We'll start a blanket fund.
a blanket fund or a food fund or, whatever it may be. But again, this is diametrically opposed to that poor man being stuck in an idea that was passed on to him undoubtedly through his family line, right? Undoubtedly. Yeah? So the terrible loneliness that he must be experiences as a norm. You understand me? As a norm. Yeah? As opposed to the community that David experiences, right? Right? In again, giving away blankets, right? Or let's take it a step further with Marco, with that dog who's being mistreated next door and him taking care of that dog. So that expands then his community to different species. Yeah. Now, all of this is factual, right?
Yeah. And I think the difference between the two outlooks is that one, so if you don't think like the person who says it's just about me and my family, and you're doing what these people that we just referenced are doing, they're helping, giving away, at the base level, what you're doing is you are improving the quality of other people's lives.
Right.
Opposed to, you might be improving the quality of your family's lives, but you are doing it at the cost of other people's lives.
If you have that mentality.
Yeah.
See? Now, the fact is, he has every right to take care of his family. That is true, right? But I'm willing to bet, based on Ethiopia as a mirror, that there's enough left over where he might be able to shove a $5 into some homeless person's hand occasionally.
The argument was stupid, but it was because it was Pokemon cards. It was because he bought all the Pokemon cards off the shelf, and I was like, you didn't leave any for kids.
What we do? You see what we do?
He was like, fuck the kids. I was like,
Right. You see?
But so his idea, his concept was, it was all right for him to, it was good for him to take all of the cards off the shelf and not leave anyone for anyone else, because if he wasn't going to do it, somebody else was going to do it, and it's about him and his family,
Right. So if someone else is going to be a greedy son of a bitch, it's okay for me to be a greedy son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's like there's 10 of us on an island, and that person has the outlet.
Please, let's not, you see, that could be stated as logic. Now, my problem with the word logic is that word has power. Just let me finish.
Yeah.
Just let me finish. Take a breath, okay, right? If you say something is logical, right, that means that it has merit. You understand? It does.
I was not going to go to a good point, though.
Right? As opposed to fanciful, let's say, right? This is why I like your word outlook much better, because in point of fact, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a perspective.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the truth. Yes?
But I was going to do a thought process that you would agree with. Here, I'll do the train station. So we're at a train station, and one of the guys says it's about me and mine. And so he's, over here in his corner, and then there's the other people who are like, let's just share, and let's, I have some bread, I have some fire.
If that were happening, how would the rest of the people, I'm sorry, but how would the rest of the people treat that person?
Yeah, right? Yeah, not too.
It's like, okay, go over there, go ahead. Okay, but you don't get any of the bourbon that this person has, right? You don't get any tuna fish sandwich that this other person has. Huh?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so I think it's just a very simple thing to show that it doesn't lead to a good quality of.
There you go. That's the point, is that it doesn't lead to quality of life. You see? Now, he would probably disagree. Oh, no, I have mayonnaise in the fridge. That is quality of life. Well, that is not only quality of life. Quality of life is also about, how do you love? That is also quality of life. Yeah. Again, what do you speculate about?
Yeah.
Yes, as in, oh my God, I really am, hurling through black matter in this immensity called a galaxy at apparently 143,000 miles an hour, right? And I cannot feel that. I feel stationary. Well, there is an amazing paradox. And again, if if you bite down on the questions that come up with this, right, there begins to be awe and wonder. Yes or no? I mean, seriously, yes or no?
Yeah, the more you bite down the questions, the more none of it really makes a whole lot of sense, and the more awe-inspiring and and amazing, because it's just like, how can this be? You know, how can any of it? And it sounds
Indeed.
silly until you really write down the questions, and then anybody
Okay,
will get
good.
that.
So go after this. Now, why, pray tell, would that be considered silly? You see? Why would
Because then
that
it's
be considered?
impossible.
If I may, I understand. Like I asked, working with somebody else, uh, so I asked this gal what was more important, the Milky Way galaxy or the New York Times, and she said the New York Times. It's like,
Yeah.
what? What? You know, did the New York Times make you? Did you come out of the New York Times? So
Yeah.
do you see her perspective? And she would say, well, no, the New York Times is about human beings and we are the most important thing. So therefore, our shenanigans is the most important thing. Well, that has got us in this place where it's okay to, kill off endless amounts of species.
Yeah. And
Which
the
again
Earth.
is logical, but it's terrible,
Yeah. It's fucked
right?
up.
It's terrible. It's terrible, So again, now we're referencing being in the here and now. Again, what would be the benefit? We've talked about this before, right? It doesn't help you pay the bills. No, it does not help. These speculations do not help you pay the bills, but they balance the bills. They balance the mundanity of endless bill paying, right?
Yeah.
You're paying bills in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy. Well, then paying the bills becomes quite a different endeavor, don't you think? I mean,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah. No,
Like,
it's just about recontextualizing it,
right.
and can change, just the simple act of something like that,
Indeed, indeed.
Take,
Well, this every time we come back into the here and now, do you understand what I'm saying? We can return to these facts. And why will we do that? Because it's nourishing. Because then we touch on the fact that we are in the middle of something that is impossible, yet it is occurring. And it is,
so
go ahead.
just want to, before we end, I want to ask, so what are the main things beyond what we've talked about that coming back to the here and the now can
Oh no,
do?
we'll do that next time. Oh no,
Next
we've just started, but now
Yeah.
we're referencing again, and I understand the word contextual, but that also shrinks things. You understand, right? Right? That well, looking at it in that context, you can right, which minimizes it. I mean, the fact that you actually did occur somehow. So, and the answer is, oh, Chris, it's not somehow. Mom and dad did the deed. Yes. And once again, that is the method. That is not the cause.
Yeah.
That is not the cause. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
No.
And I think, well, I think that when I say recontextualize, I'm really saying take away all ideas. But
Well,
I feel like,
then say that instead of recontextual, because
yeah,
recontextualize, that sounds like a news show with people
yeah.
talking. You know what I'm saying?
I
Right.
don't know if
And the
people would
reason why this
understand
is
what I said.
important,
So
you have to be careful with words
yeah,
because words carry weight.
yeah,
If you say, for instance, I'm going to go back to logic again. If you say, working with logic, right, that has a certain amount of punch to it, right? Because logic, based on the way we were trained, right, has more merit than, let's say, imagination.
well,
Right?
for me, I agree, but don't think all logic is good. I think logic can be used for terrible
I
things
understand
too.
that. But what I'm
Yeah,
talking about now is being really, really careful about using words. You
yeah,
understand? Right? So your idea that this was his outlook is it's like I had a girlfriend and we would be arguing and I would interrupt her and she would say, so you're not going to let me speak my truth? And I went, no, I am not going to let you speak your truth. Because if I disagree with your truth, that's a big fucking deal, right? I will allow you your opinion. And then if I disagree with your opinion, right, that is far less weighty than me contesting your truth.
yeah.
You see
It's
what I
like
mean?
fighting them as a being rather than just as an idea they might have
As
had.
an idea, as an
Yeah,
idea, you see? Yeah. So again, this brings us back to, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? As we stop now. But no, I promise you. So in acknowledging the here and the now, right, is really this place of astonishing spaciousness. Yes?
yeah. Hi. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to start with that, right? So this is much more specific than coming, which is not a bad thing, to come back into the here and now, to catch your breath. You understand? Right? It's like pausing. It's like pausing on the interstate to take in the landscape instead of it zoom, 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 going by you. Right?
The word I used earlier was recompose yourself. Yeah, recompose yourself. Right? I think that's the word I used earlier when I was saying, like, when I meditate, it allows me to recompose myself, briefly.
Indeed, that can be a word that will work, right? But again, so that is the most I mean, to return to the here and the now is a tool to allow you recharge. What was the word you just used?
Recompose, right? Yeah,
recompose, right? Yeah, yeah. That is true. It's valid, right? But that is the most overt reason to come back into the here and now. Now, what are you looking at?
The definition: recompose, compose again or differently.
That's a terrible definition.
That's
Terrible definition. Now, compose means to put together, by the way.
Put together. So to, like, put yourself back together, kind of like come back to,
Hi. So, but then again, so what we did today is not just using it to come back to recompose, right? Or, or to come back to a place of rest. Yeah. So that's important, but that is the beginning. That's like the foundation of now where we're going with the importance of the here and now. So you today acknowledge without my prompting, right? Yes, that again, and in part because you have been introduced to these ideas for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is another reason for good research into mystical religious expression, because that's the only place, along with astrophysicists, right, in our kind, where you get to consider that, right?
Yeah. No, that's what's so great about the book that you gave me for Christmas, and it's very similar to Zen Flesh and Zen Bones, where it's little thought experiments, basically.
Hi, that make you go, yeah? Hi.
Yeah.
Like the very first one with the guy saying, what's so bad with the temple without a gate?
Yeah.
Did you read it? Did you read the first
Yeah,
one?
I mean, I'm like, I don't totally understand all of them, but
No,
yeah.
well, that's the lovely thing about Zen is you're not supposed to understand, but it is supposed to tickle your fancy. What could this mean? What could it mean? Yeah, so the first story is about a guy who is a philanthropist. He's got money and he gives away money to people who are suffering.
Yeah.
So a monk who oversees this temple, it needs a gate. So he goes to see this guy and says, will you give me money for a gate? And the guy goes, look, he goes, I'm giving away my money because there's people really suffering, right? And I can't bear to see it. So that's why I do it. What's so bad about a temple not having a gate?
That's good. Yeah, that's great.
All right, man.
Cool. So yeah, so we got a baseline, and then we know what we'll start next week.
Indeed. And this is good because it is sequential. We started with Kung Fu Panda, remember?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, well, now we're going, huh?
I don't know the exact quote, but the present is a gift, something.
Here's the quote. The past is history. The future is a mystery. The present is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
Great. Such a great quote. I still hear people referencing it too all the time.
Right. Well, true that. It's wonderful. I mean, whoever did that, that's solid. That is rock solid. Just rock solid. Yeah. No. All right, dude. So same bat time. And yeah, if this thing comes to fruition, just give me a buzz and let me know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, man. And in the meantime, you're doing okay. You got enough work and all like that, right?
Yeah, it's been a crazy past couple of weeks. I have the next few days off, which is good. But I've worked like I had like 2 days off for the past like 2 or 3 weeks. So it's been good. Been making money.
Money wise, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. Paid rent, paid all my bills, so we're set. I even had to buy this new phone which put me back $400, and I was scared I wasn't gonna make my rent, but I got it all paid for. Everything was good.
Now, did you get that burner?
No, I have no. I spent a whole day at the phone store, and it was such a pain in the butt. It was terrible, but I ended up having to pay $400 to get this whole new phone set up and everything. And so,
Is it a super duper one, or
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
the newest model, the best of the best. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So you can hit a button, it'll turn into the Enterprise, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Does my homework for me. All right.
I'll see you next
All
time.
right. Love you, man.